Blog Talk Radio.
It's Monday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, on the Blog Talk Radio Network. Once again, it's time for the most intriguing talk radio on the internet today. This is Sasquatch Radio. Breaking news and information from around the world. Interviews with men and women investigating the mystery. The latest high-tech equipment. Cutting-edge research techniques. And amazing discoveries. Real-life people sharing real-life encounters. The director and founder of Sasquatch, Washington, Virginia. Here is your host, Billy Willard. Something is out there in the dark, watching, waiting. It's time to unleash the beast. This is Sasquatch Radio.
All right, welcome everyone to another episode of Sasquatch Radio. Today is Monday, December 14th, 2009. I am your host, Billy Willard, and welcome my co-host, Mr. Mike Killen.
Hey, Billy. How are you?
Doing just fine. How are you tonight?
Not bad, not bad. Hello to you and to everybody coming into the chat. Hey, guys, and to everyone out there listening.
Yep. Welcome everybody again. We are making the attempt to get our guest on the line tonight. I've been trying to call her since about 5 minutes before the show, and I keep getting a busy signal, so that's not doing me any good. So we'll just have to keep trying here within, this first few minutes of the show, and hopefully we'll be able to get her on the line. Irish guy, he must think I have a bad Southern accent or something. He's always asking JC to translate. I tell you what. You wait till I see you in Ohio again. Anyway, any of you folks in Virginia know what we've been getting here lately. It's been nothing but rain, and it's been wet, and it's just miserable. I don't want to see any more rain myself. It's slowing down business for sure. I guess Mike and them haven't had too much rain up in New York, right?
No, we've had some, but yeah, not too bad. We definitely had some heavy rain like the middle of last week. I think it was like Wednesday.
Yeah.
Had, an inch and a half of rain in one day or something. It was pretty heavy, but it hasn't been too bad. But
okay,
you know what?
Good.
But you know what? I always say I'd much rather have rain in December, January, February than snow, because you don't got to shovel rain.
Well, I personally don't mind the snow too much. It's the ice I don't like.
Yeah. But you don't have to shovel the rain. You don't have to sand it, salt it. None of the above. So I'll take the rain in the winter.
It does make it a little easier.
It's just
while we're waiting here, Mike, we'll find out who this caller is. It's a Skype caller. So let's see what we got here.
All right.
Skype caller, you're on the line.
Hey, gentlemen, it's just the elusive one listening in.
Hey, how you doing tonight, Abe?
Doing good. Just trying to stay warm.
Yeah, probably pretty cold up that way, huh?
Well, we got the snow big time. That's all I can say that, and thank God I got a 12-year-old boy who doesn't mind shoveling, so it all kind of works out.
That does make things a little bit easier, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, big time.
Well, I hate to brag, but today we've got, matter of fact, still outside right now we have 50 degrees. So
that would be bragging. I always tell people you don't want to talk to Minnesotans about cold weather, because we can definitely put people on a run for their money when it comes down to the cold weather.
Sure you can. All right. Well, we'll put you on hold then, Abe, and hopefully I'll be able to get this guest on the line.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
All right.
See you later, Abe.
See you, Mike.
All right. Let's see here. All right, Mike, do you want to just, I don't know what you're going to talk about. We can talk about something while I go to the other line here and see if we can get our guest on. So come up with something, Mike.
Boy, that's not putting me on the spot too much now, is it?
Hey, you volunteered for this.
All right. I'll do my best. And just make it quick. See if you can get a hold of her, and if not, come right back, and we'll think of something to talk about together until
okay.
We'll find out if she's going to join us tonight.
All right, I'll be right back.
All right. Yeah, well, so while Billy is off trying to get this guest, what can we talk about? Well, weather aside, let's talk about people that get out in the wintertime and either go squatching or just simply camping. You know, it's a whole different ball game when you're out there in the wintertime. I can't say that I've really been camping in the dead of winter, but we were camping in the Adirondacks in early spring in April, and we were camping on about a foot of snow, which is a little unusual. And I mean, we had to dig down, a foot down to get to the dirt to make a fire pit. You know, I had a sunken fire pit, and it's a little bit different wintertime camping. You know, we had a bunch of us had our tents set up under the trees, and the wind came and blew the trees around, and then, about 25 pounds of snow falling down on your tent. That's not a whole lot of fun.
All right, I'm back.
All right.
She's still got a busy line, so I'll try her again in another 5 minutes, I guess. So I guess for the meantime, we can, if anyone wants to call in, we can make this show, which is actually this will be a first for our show that we've had to have, I think, a round table type discussion. Call-in type show. So, it's first for everything.
These things happen, yep. Well, I was just, John Cartwright's telling me, sing, Mikey, sing. Mr. chat room. I was just kind of filling some time here and talk about, being that it's winter time, talk about winter camping,
Oh, okay.
Not that I really do it, but, at that time in the Adirondacks, matter of fact, you and Tom were up there in early spring 2007. We were up there in the Adirondacks, and we were camped on about a foot of snow.
Oh, yeah.
In the middle of April. I'm sure you remember.
I remember that very well. As a matter of fact, I remember being on top of the hill. Me and Tom had walked away from the base camp and went up on a hill, and we had our Garmin rhinos out there, so we kept checking the weather station that's on the Garmin, and we heard about the weather coming. So I remember we left that night, and I think you all stayed out there, and it snowed even more on top of that.
Yeah, well, it wasn't the optimum conditions for an expedition, but what are you going to do? Once plans are made and schedules are rearranged, and people are they do what they have to do to get the free time, and you got to just go and make the best of it, and weather be damned, basically. I mean,
Yeah.
But I'm sure you remember what a struggle that was to get up that path, from where the vehicles were parked to where the camp was. That almost turned into, what do they call that? I think over in Germany they call them the Alpine slides. That trail was a little treacherous going up there and back, and after it had been walked a bunch of times, the snow got, of course, hard packed and smooth, and made it even all the worse,
Yeah. Yeah, I think didn't we have? I think we had some sleds or something, didn't we? And we could strap our stuff, and we was sledding the stuff up the hill.
Yeah, I think, was that Chris? It might have been Chris that had. Somebody brought a sled. Somebody was smart and brought a sled. And you and Tom had a good idea too with the cart with the wheels. But the thing is, when you got a foot of snow, those wheels don't turn too easily.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not in that kind of snow.
Yeah. So I think it was Chris that was the smart one that brought the sled in there. We all took turns loading up the gear and hauling that sled up the hill with everybody's gear in it. And Well,
Yeah,
like I said,
we always have fun.
Yeah, like I said, you make the best of it because you already cleared your schedule and you plan to be there and you're all packed and what are you going to do at the last second? Call it off,
Yeah, so
You
exactly.
just go and you do what you can and hey, if anything though, it makes finding tracks easy if you happen to come across any. If you're lucky enough to come across any, but.
Yeah, that's about the only thing it's good for. But then again, you got to wonder, does this thing want to be out walking around the snow?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there have been some sightings in the winter, and I was just going to say in the chat room there, who was it? Let me scroll back up here. I guess I already scrolled out of view. It wasn't a question, but I think it was Slam.
Yeah.
He was. Well, actually, yeah, he was asking. I guess he was talking about the wintertime sightings and was wondering, I guess, about what the percentage is or what kind of reports come in the wintertime. And as we speak, I'm trying to talk and simultaneously surf on over to my my database, my New York database, anyway, and see what we have for reports in New York in the winter. I get so many files in this.
Oh, you got a ton of files.
Yeah.
All the info that you keep. Well, if anybody, in the meantime, if anybody wants to call in and just bring up the subject or talk about something, the call-in number is 347-237-5070. Again, it's 347-237-5070. Give us something to chat about until we possibly get our guest on here. And while you're looking that up, Mike, if you want to just keep on talking, I'll go to try to catch her again. I'll be right back.
All right. Okay. Well, right now I'm pulling up my database, and I'm going to try to sort records. I'm going to sort through here by month because I can actually change the way I sort through. I can sort by year, by month, by town, county. I'm going to sort by month. Let's see. Let's change that. Okay.
Oh, it's still busy.
Still busy, huh?
Yeah.
All right. So Slam had a question, was wondering about the wintertime sightings. Well, let me see. I have these in order here. Basically, January, February. Are we going to include March in wintertime? I guess it's still pretty cold in March, right?
Yeah, it's pretty cold still.
So for New York, anyway, I have 31 encounter reports from January, February through the end of March.
Okay.
And then let me scroll down to December because you can't forget the December ones either. Let's see. December, we have where is it here? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Looks like about 9 or 10. Yeah, about 9 or 10 in December. So that's that's about 40 something reports.
Yeah. Yep.
In New York in the winter. So that's a fair amount. I mean, that's all total. That's over various years. But I don't think you get much because reports because you don't have nearly as many people out there. So
that's right.
People aren't out and about as much. I mean, of course, you get your people that are cross-country skiers and snowmobiles. But I mean, by and large, the vast majority of the population is not out there. So.
Yeah.
And especially up into these, really mountainous areas. I mean, some of these areas are hard to reach when there's no snow on the ground.
Right. Exactly.
They're hard to reach when it's just hard ground, just dirt. Much less a foot or more of snow. I guess some of these places you need skis or a snowmobile to really get into.
Yeah.
Or snowshoes.
Yeah, those. I know the Adirondacks are pretty treacherous. There's been areas we've been into, as you know, up there even without no snow. It's makes it a little treacherous getting in. The rock outcrops and things on some of these so-called snowmobile trails. I couldn't imagine snowmobiling up a trail with some of the rocks we've seen up there. Can you imagine hitting one of those things under that soft powder?
No, that would not be a lot of fun. You remember some of those large rocks there, yeah.
That would be terrible.
Yeah. I think you'd come off of that snowmobile in an awful hurry.
Oh, I guarantee you would. You'd be hurt too. Probably have a few less teeth when you got done.
Yeah.
That would not be good. See, we think we got Henry on the line with us. That you, Henry?
It is me. How y'all doing?
Pretty good. How about you?
Can't complain. Just wanted to talk a little bit. I'm sorry y'all guest couldn't make it tonight.
Well, I'm going to keep trying her. Apparently, she must not have call waiting and all that. She must just have a single line. But I'll keep cutting in and out and try to catch her and see if we can get her on the line. I sent her a message over the weekend and never did hear back from her, so I was a little worried that I hadn't heard from her. But I tried.
I wanted to get your take on the recent events, such as the recent. Hey, there's Bill Green in the chat room. Well, I wanted to get y'all's take on the recent events, such as the occurrences around the San Antonio, Texas area, and also the Minnesota hoax, the hoax photo.
That's whether they were hoaxed or whatever, that's definitely fake. There is no doubt about that. I think an elementary kid could figure that one out.
Mm-hmm.
That is the one of the worst ones I've seen yet. But did you see how the newspapers took off with it?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Autumn Williams has a very interesting article, interesting blog post on her blog today. She shows that photograph.
Yeah.
But she also shows a still from the Freeman footage, also the Patterson Gimlin film. And she was talking about that there is a way that you can tell that something is fake. But if you look at it, although it's not really a reliable way of, she says it may not be a very reliable way of telling if something is fake or not, and that's you look at the dye that is used for, let's say, a gorilla suit. She says that some dyes in these gorilla suits sort of make them sort of an indigo color, sort of an indigo bluish color. And you usually look at suits like that, and you look at fakes like that, you can tell that they are hoaxes. She talked about there was a series of photographs that was actually shown on Mysterious Encounters several years ago, which they were from Oklahoma, and they showed what appeared to be almost a Patty type individual. And Doug Hychek, the producer of Mysterious Encounters, actually, when he looked at those photographs, oh God, JC. He actually looked at those photographs and he did the indigo test just to test them to see whether or not it was a suit. He declared it to be a suit, and Autumn kind of agreed with him, but now Autumn figures she wishes that she could get a hold of those photographs again and take another look at them. Slam has the post. Slam has put the link to that post.
Cool, people, check that out.
It's really
hey, Henry, let me grab this other person that's in here, too. We got another Skype caller. Who do we got on the line?
Okay.
Hey.
Who's this?
Billy, what's up?
What's going on, Creature Seeker?
The Creature Seeker.
Bruce.
Hey,
darn it.
It sounds like your guest came to her senses.
You didn't have to come on the line to bring this abuse. I can deal with the abuse by other methods like email and stuff like that, as you know.
It's not nearly as fun, Billy.
Yeah, I kind of realize that.
Well,
all right.
How about
you all have a conversation with Mike while I try to go fetch that guest again?
Yeah.
All right. How are you back, Billy? Go ahead, HPM.
I also wanted to get y'all's take on the events happening around the San Antonio area.
What's going on in the San Antonio area? Is there like a
rip-off
or something?
People are claiming that they're seeing a Sasquatch close to the city in sort of forested areas near a dump, I think. And there are people who said they were seeing smaller creatures hanging around like a garage, a body shop, things of that nature.
Yeah, they claim multiple sightings over there, right? There was several people.
Yeah. Apparently some homeless people called 911 and talked about this, seeing this large Sasquatch-type creature crossing a highway out in an open area, even though there's some patches of woods in the area nearby.
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
who knows?
I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I mean, you know, obviously that there are do seem to be creatures in Texas. You know, there's evidence found in many areas of Texas, but in that particular case, I don't know really enough about the immediate topography, the terrain of the area around San Antonio to say whether it's really feasible or not. You know, never really looked at a topo map in that area.
Well,
I still can't get her.
Did she change her number yet, Billy?
Oh, man, I swear. I tell you, the abuse I take from people.
Well, and let me tell you, Bruce knows a thing or two about being you know, the butt of jokes, having fun poked at you. Bruce knows a thing or two about that. So.
Yeah, he has tapped his rear a couple times.
You're going to have to qualify that, Billy, because I think that didn't sound right.
Well, you know, I mean, you know, what I'm talking about is, you know, eating a few too many hot dogs when somebody told you that's probably enough, and then slamming through a chair in the middle of a conference, you know.
You know, I knew you guys would bring that up, but I just want to say for the record that chair was structurally defective. So,
do you have an engineer check it before you sat in it?
So I'm getting a bad rep because of that, and if this is all Altman's fault, because he should have inspected those chairs before he set them out.
Well, it's not just the chair incident, although that was the highlight of the conference, I must say. But it's not just that, Bruce. I mean, I think your legend began at a restaurant known as Pizzer's. I think the legend of Bruce began Bruce the stomach creature seeker. That was when the legend was born, and that 32-ounce steak he ordered up. And I don't know how what'd you have? Was it a giant bowl of salad for an appetizer, and I don't know what else you had. I know you saved
and then a whole chocolate pie on top of that.
A big hunk anyway. He saved room for just a little slice. I mean, this thing looked like half of a pizza pie, you know.
Well, I think they have an 8x11 picture of him now framed in mahogany frame right up at the main door when you walk in. Him eating a 32-ounce steak and actually finishing it.
Well, yeah, Bruce is among the select few, huh?
Yeah.
Well, it's hard. It's hard to eat when you have people constantly coming up to your table and taking pictures of you and your food.
Well, they had to save it for posterity, Bruce. You know.
Right.
I think it was Kelly Beverly that snuck up on him and got a few pictures while he was actually eating.
There was a bunch of people, and so probably out there on the internet, there are these pictures floating around, and it's distorted because, you know, of course, it's a close-up of the food, so it looks like a lot more than what it was. You know, that 32-ounce steak wasn't really all that big.
Well, the ones though, Bruce, the ones that were distorted, I could have swore I saw a Bigfoot in them.
I can't.
And Bruce, Crypto Seeker in the chat says you are never going to live down that chair fiasco.
Not if you guys have anything to do with it.
Yeah, no. Well, we'll bring it up from time to time. I'm sure you can you can look forward to that for some time yet.
Hey, Andy Drew wants to know, Bruce, Andy Drew wants to know if you were sitting on a frozen steak to thaw it out when the chair collapsed.
Thanks, Andy. Thanks, I needed that.
Yeah. See, come over here and start trouble, and you're going to get it back.
So, what were we talking about before I so rudely interrupted HBM?
Well, Henry was asking about the San Antonio, Texas sightings, and before that, I was just basically chatting about winter camping and squatching, and we could certainly entertain that as a discussion. I know Crypto Seeker, she had asked earlier, is it easier to track something in the snow? And well, that yes, it's kind of a two-part answer. Yes, it's definitely easier to track something in the snow, but to see exactly what you're tracking, especially if it's a smaller animal track, you'd have to get it in fresh snow before it has, before the sun gets at it and distorts it. Because then, the track can melt and refreeze over a few nights and days, and be very difficult to figure out exactly what you're looking at.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the bad part, and when the track starts to melt. That's why it's important to get out there, soon after the snowfall ends, before all the melting starts, and that way you can, pretty much see a fresh track if anything's went through. That sun can really do a number on a regular footprint and really melt away the outer edge and make it look a lot larger than what it really was.
Yeah, but if you get some nice fresh powder, and then the next day, if it doesn't snow again, but if a creature came out during the night and was stomping around, and if the next day it's overcast, like not snowing but not sunny, overcast, you have a good shot maybe if you're in the right place in the right area. That track may not melt due to the sun, and you might get lucky walking around and finding a track. You don't have that many people out there walking around in the wintertime, so it kind of limits. If you see a line of track, something walk through an area, even from a good distance, you can see that in a snowy field. Good chance, you might be one of our hairy friends, because you're not going to get that many people, winter hiking, I don't think.
Yep. No, not really. I mean, it's not too many people, other than maybe some hunters or something like that walking around. That's about it.
Yeah.
But, you won't find any, adventurers, not too many, unless it's us crazy Bigfoot nuts, out there walking around.
But, generally people aren't going to trudge through deep snow is what I'm getting at. You get 8 inches or better of snow, 8-10 inches of snow, you're not going to get the average person traipsing through there. So.
Right.
So, yeah, Crypto Seeker, it is easier to find the line of tracks if you're so lucky to come across one, but the main thing is to try to find them before they get distorted and change their shape. And then, of course, there's a whole other skill set involved in casting tracks in the snow.
Right.
You have to use that the wax. You have to set the track, get it kind of firmed up before you start pouring any kind of a mix in there. And especially, you got to remember that mix, unless you're using plaster of Paris, which I don't think it happens with plaster of Paris, but I know with any of the gypsum cements, which is any of your ultracals and your hydrocals and all those other ones, dry stone, any of that stuff. If you use any of the gypsum cement, it actually gives off heat when you mix it with the water.
Right.
So you got to get a good coating of the wax in there to try to prevent the actual mix that you pour it in there from melting the whole track away.
That's right. Right. All right, I'm going to cut out and try to catch her again, so y'all keep on going.
All right.
All right.
So how do you feel about winter squatching or camping, Bruce? You ever get out there when it's all white and have a look around?
As a general rule, I don't go out there when there's a lot of snow, just because it's very arduous, and some of the places where you would go to look for evidence are generally hard to get to unless you're good at snowshoeing. So up here in New England, we go up into the White Mountains or into the Berkshires, and it's a fairly arduous trek.
Yeah. Well, I said earlier in the show, I don't know if you were on the phone with us then, but I mean, some of the areas that we go to also up in the Adirondacks, some of them are fairly remote and somewhat hard to reach, even when it's good weather. They're not easy to get into, some of these places. So you can imagine, you add 8, 10, 12 inches of snow or more, becomes a whole other ball game as far as trying to get into someplace, unless you got, like you said, snowshoes or a snowmobile or some other or skis.
Yeah.
If you're a cross-country skier and you can fit a scaled-down version of your squatching equipment in a kit in a small backpack on your back, that would probably be ideal for the winter. But most people are probably not going to go that extreme.
Yeah.
All right. Still no answer.
The snowmaker.
Go ahead and Mike. Go ahead and ask that question to Bruce, even though he already answered it in the chat. Once we got Bruce on here, we'll put him on the hot seat tonight.
All right. Yeah. The question from Andy Drew. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He wanted to know if you've ever found a foot impression.
I've never come upon a foot impression that I thought was actually a Bigfoot track. I've seen many track impressions. I've had people show me track impressions. But I've never actually seen one that I thought was compelling.
Okay. Well, all right. So nothing compelling, but I mean, you have seen at least some questionable ones that were kind of on the fence, so to speak. I'm sure you must have seen.
I've seen
a few that made you say, it could be,
I've seen plenty of questionable ones, but what they lacked were clearly defined toes, or they were just a partial impression, Or I thought they should have been a lot deeper, or they could have been, a natural phenomena. But I've seen lots and lots of, supposed track impressions, but none that I could actually say, you know what, that's a really compelling track impression that looks like it could have been cast by, by people.
That's the problem I found. I mean, just about every track, that I've ever come across myself, just about every one, you practically have virtually no real discernible toe impressions. A couple of them had where you could kind of discern a big toe and then maybe one toe next to it, but that was it. You couldn't really see the outline of the rest of the toes. Some of them you couldn't make out any of the toes at all. It seemed like the track just kind of ended at the ball of the foot, and that a lot of that has to do with the material that the track was stepped onto. The substrate, whether it's a lot of leaf litter and twigs, and it's a lot of stuff on the forest floor that'll prevent you from getting a good track.
Well, while we're on the subject, Mike, I just wanted to sort of say that I've been out in the field with a lot of researchers, and you have to be really careful. What I sometimes see is, and it's not really their fault, and it's not really a dig at anyone, but sometimes I see some sort of sloppy evidence collection. And what I mean by that is, if you see what you think is a track impression, I've seen people sort of clear away debris, and for example, I was out probably about a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, and one of the team members thought they saw a track impression, so they started to pull the debris away from where the impression was. And the problem with that is, by the time they finished, it actually looked like an impression where it may not have been at all. You know what I mean? So if you're, for example, looking at impression in the midst of leaf litter, and you start pulling leaves away from where you think the impression is, it will begin to look like an impression, even though it may not have been an actual, impression caused by an animal. You know what I mean? So we have to be really careful when you're gathering evidence or collecting evidence, and especially if you think you've identified an impression, not to contaminate that evidence with.
Well, as far as the leaf litter, at least up in the areas that I'm in mostly, oftentimes partial impressions are hidden beneath the leaves, and if you don't move any of the leaves, you're likely to never find it. You're likely to walk right past it. Now, there's a difference now if you're I mean, if you're scooping out so much material where you're actually, like you said, more or less in a way, like kind of creating, an impression. What you're saying is you're actually, when you're scooping too much out, you can actually be removing some soil as well, I guess, and you're saying you can actually kind of create.
Well, what I'm saying is that it's one thing if there's, say you have some mud and the track is old so that there's some litter on top of it. It's one thing to remove the leaf litter on top of it, but it's another when the leaf litter is part of the impression to remove the leaf litter from the track, the supposed track impression.
You're saying like if it's kind of like depressed in the bottom, like the creature,
that's correct,
or even a person with boots or whatever, somebody stepped it. Yeah, no, all right, I misunderstood what you were saying. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, no, that definitely I agree with you. You really want to leave anything that's kind of set firmly into the bottom, into the base of any kind of impression. You want to leave alone, if you can help it. But I misunderstood what you said. But as far as like just loose stuff on top, like I said, there's so much of that up here, in the areas I go, that literally sometimes that's the only way we find anything. Is you see like a little corner where maybe a leaf or two is not there, and you see this little slight kind of just a little bit of a depression, and then you go over and you look, and sure enough there's some loose leaves, and you pick one up and then two, and then you see this kind of depression is elongated and it keeps going. I mean, half the time that's the only way you find anything up there.
Yeah.
It's to peek under what's on the forest floor, and it's very easy to pass stuff by and not even realize. The clearest track, well, I should say that's a misnomer. I wouldn't say clearest, but in a manner of speaking, the best track that I've seen that definitely showed toes, our luck, it was actually in sand, so you could see toes, but it was in sand, so you're really not going to get a really good track cast out of that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with snow. We didn't have any kind of spray wax with us, and you either need spray wax or hairspray. You need something to spray in the sand to kind of set that sand before you would pour anything. Otherwise, it's just gonna forget it. It's just gonna ruin the track. But we didn't have any with us, so we couldn't take it. But that was the only time I could say that you could actually see basically all 5 toes. And of course, all luck it was in soft sand, and it wasn't castable with the equipment we had on hand. But isn't that always the way? Well, never find that when you come into a nice mud hole or something,
No. Well, I'm always suspect when people find a track and they cast it, and there's no other tracks. There's just one track, So I always find that kind of questionable. Why didn't you at least find a partial impression, in the same area? How come there's only one clear track?
Well, the only way I could think you could have that would be if a creature was walking across pretty solid ground and just happened to step right near a waterway or somewhere where the soil was looser. That would be the only way that would happen that I can think of. And quite frankly, that doesn't happen very often. You usually find at least 2, 3, or 4 prints within a trackway, so that you can get a better confirmation. And that's because they're, walking through a ravine where it may be moist or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, I agree with you, Bruce. If I find one impression, I'm not happy until I find something else somewhere nearby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can get that a number of ways. You can get that, like Billy said, you can get that if the area where the track was made is very rocky, and maybe that one spot where it stepped was actually somewhat softer dirt, or maybe even there's a little bit of a puddle there, and it's the outer edge of the puddle, kind of like a little mud hole, You can get that if something walked across gravel, and there's one spot, in the gravel road, for whatever reason, there was like a little bare patch in the gravel road where it's just dirt. I mean, there are certain instances where you could just find one track, but yeah, I know what you mean. You would hope to find at least a partial second track or something, but you don't always find trackways. It would be great if you did, but sometimes it doesn't happen that way. But yeah, I know what you're saying, because for purposes of hoaxing or whatever, much easier just to make one track than to make 5, right?
Sure. And also,
Yep.
I'm suspect of. There was one instance where someone called me over and said, "Oh, look at these tracks, and all the track impressions, which most of them didn't look like track impressions to me. They just looked like natural depressions amongst the leaf litter, but they were all within probably 18 inches of each other. So you've had, they identified 5 or 6 tracks that were within an 18-inch radius. So what can we conclude from that? Was doing, a pirouette? I mean, I'm highly suspect of those instances too, where there are too many tracks. You know what I mean?
Hey guys, I'm going to pull this other caller on the line with us. He might as well have a party with us. Caller from the 419 area code. You're on the air.
Hey, Billy.
Hey, Indy. What's going on, buddy?
Hey, Indy.
Indy.
Hey.
Hey, Indy got me a chocolate pie at the conference, so he's on my.
You know what? This is a very good opportunity, Indy. Did you really buy that pie for Bruce, or did he break into the cabin via the screen and window and steal it?
I did not break that screen, Billy.
He snuck in and stole ours, man. Remember?
I knew it.
Indy, I can't believe unbelievable. He's joking. He's obviously joking.
We got there and I told him, because I'd been joking with him, through the blog talk chat rooms and everything, that I was going to bring him a chocolate pie. Well, I just brought one for ourselves, and I kind of mentioned it to him that I had one there. And then all of a sudden, the next thing we know, it's half gone by the time we get
Andy,
back.
you're a lying sack of. You bought that pie for me. I can't believe you're
I tell you, here's the scenario. Me and JC walks in, and we look, we open the refrigerator, we look in there, and the pie's when we left, it was like a whole pie in there, and then there was like one slice left. I said, well, what the heck happened? So we're looking around, and JC looks over and notices like the corner of the screen is like bent on the window, so we go out and examine the outside of the cabin. I said, look at this. He didn't have a key to get in, so we're looking around, and then Bruce shows up, and I said, Bruce, look at this. Bruce goes, man, he said, that looks like Bigfoot evidence.
I never
said that. I think Bigfoot done that.
I never said that was Bigfoot evidence. You guys are killing me.
Sure Bruce didn't have incriminating chocolate on his right mouth?
All right, you know what? If you want me to say I had a piece of that pie, fine. I did have a piece of that pie. All right, but I didn't eat all of it. I just had one, maybe 2 or 3 pieces.
It's going up.
3 for 1. I love how that number went from 1 to 3.
They were small pieces, Indy.
Oh, Bruce, I've got a challenge for you here, and I want everybody to hear this. If I can make it to the next PBS Bigfoot convention, okay?
Yeah.
I'm challenging you to a steak-off.
Uh-oh.
Buddy.
Did he just say the next PBS conference?
Yeah.
I think he might have a very, very long wait, because the last time I talked to Eric, he wasn't planning on having another one. At least for the foreseeable future. He swears he really doesn't want to have another one ever again. But I think you give it 2 or 3 years. I think maybe he can be persuaded. But he's taking a break for the foreseeable future anyway.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
He said something about possibly 2011.
Yeah, I heard that too, Henry. He did mention 2011, but he definitely hasn't confirmed anything yet. But
right.
It could happen. Who knows?
Well,
I'll
Indy,
tell you what.
who's
May,
challenging
Ohio,
me?
buddy.
Who's challenging me to a steak-off? Is it you?
Yeah, me.
All right, fine. Bring it
on.
on.
All right. Do I get to film this and put it up on YouTube?
Yeah.
Wait.
What the hell?
Do we have the grizzle?
Yeah.
Hey, we're talking gristle, fat, everything. It's got to be gone.
I don't know. I'm trying to keep a low cholesterol diet.
I'm sure you are. I'll make sure they make it well done.
Hey, Billy?
Yeah.
we actually got a few comments and questions in chat here.
All right.
Bill Green, our friend Bill Green, he's asking his trademark question there.
Oh, I've got an answer for him too. So go ahead.
But wait, he's got a new twist on this though. Wait, he's got a new twist. This is a first, I think. Besides the if Billy, Mike, and guess if we have any recent sighting footprints, but now he's adding strange sounds in your state forest. I guess he's wanting to know if any of us have recorded anything recently.
That is a new twist.
Well, that is a new twist, and I've got an answer for him. I went out not this past weekend, but the weekend before, out to a area that we've been doing research at for about 3 years, and I did record an audio that I have not yet identified. I haven't posted it up nowhere yet. I'm going to let DB do some analysis on it, see if we can figure out if it's a known animal. If it is, it's something I've never heard before, and it was whatever the sound was. It triggered everything in the area. It triggered dogs barking. It triggered owls. Barred owls started going crazy. I mean, it was really weird. So that's the sound part. Now, back on December 10th, back a few days ago, I did get an encounter report. However, the encounter report happened 3 to 4 years ago, but I'll go ahead and mention it. It happened in an area called Raleigh Springs in Rockingham County. That's here in Virginia off of Route 33. Said it happened somewhere between 10:30 and 12 o'clock midnight. And here's the way they explained it. Said that he and his girlfriend, which is now his wife, decided to go for a ride in late November, early December, pulled off to talk, and well after about 15 minutes they heard some noises. Said they ignored the noises because they were out in the woods, and he got out of the truck, went to use the bathroom, and then he heard something all of a sudden, what sounded like a rock hit about 20 feet away from him. He said he was trying to figure out what had done it. He was looking around. He goes, and about that time, about a third one came and actually hit the truck. And by that time, he said he was jumping into the truck, told his wife what had happened, his girlfriend at the time, and she looked at him weird, but yet she reached over and locked her door, and then they sat there and listened for about 30 seconds to a minute or so, and then they heard more rocks, and that was all they could take, so they immediately, got the heck out of there. He said that when I was jumping in the truck about ready to have a heart attack, the rocks just keep getting closer and closer. He said they wasn't little rocks. He says they were a good way away from the river because he's a fisherman. He goes out there to fish. But he said these were fairly good-sized rocks that were being thrown at the truck. So that's basically it.
And I could answer Bill. Bill, the most unusual sound that I recorded recently was back in on the Nesra summer expedition this past year, and we had a couple of things unusual recorded. Bill R, he recorded a bunch of stuff, but the one recording that I had that was unusual. I was there myself for the first about 5-6 hours of the expedition. Got in there and set up and waited for the rest of the people, and I played it on the show. You probably heard it, but that one sound clip where there's 3 quick knocks and then an enormous kind of thud or a crash of something heavy hitting the ground right after. I mean, immediately, like a half a second after the last whack. Very quick. I mean, no pause at all. It's just like boom, 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 thud, really heavy crash thud. So that was kind of unusual. Still haven't figured that one out 100%, but I have some theories. There's another question here from Whammy9. He's asking, has anyone here ever seen a really good winter trackway or track? I guess he's saying like a real clear, defined track in the wintertime. I know I haven't.
I mean, I've found some tracks, and actually have some pictures of some tracks that I found. I think it was in '06. They were fairly good-sized tracks. They were 15 inches long, but again, it wasn't anything that was compelling enough to me to be prepared to call it Bigfoot. I mean, it could have been anything.
Yeah.
But there were several of them. I mean, I followed them for quite a way, but it could have been some melting effect and stuff like that. So, kind of hard to say.
Yeah. I haven't found anything in actual winter months. I mean, I don't think November really truly qualifies as officially winter, but I found some partial impressions in November, actually down in the Pine Barrens in New Jersey.
Cool.
Not far from where we were, Billy. In fall of '06, we were in Wharton State Forest. Well, this was between Wharton and what's the name of the other one there? Bass River. It was between Bass River and Wharton, in the Pine Barrens. In between there, that is, a network of trails, and we found three kind of partial, vague impressions. Very hard to make anything out, but
right.
But they were 5 feet in between each one, and there was 3 in a row, it seemed, and then then there was just it got lost in between all the other footprints and even some tire marks. These are trails that are wide enough to actually get vehicles down. So
right.
Who knows what might have been destroyed, or maybe whatever this was, maybe it stepped into the woods. Made a few steps on the trail and then went into the brush. I don't know, but these were about 5 feet, just about exactly 5 feet in between each impression. But none of them you could really make out any distinguishing characteristics. No toes or anything. A heel and pretty much you can make it out like up to the ball of the foot, and you can kind of guesstimate where the toes would have fallen, but you couldn't really,
right.
couldn't really make them out. But that was in November.
Well, of course.
So
Well, of course, there's also the famous case of the Bossburg, Washington footprints, 1969, almost 40 years ago.
Yeah.
The Crimplefoot kits.
Yeah.
That was in the winter time, and there was snow on the ground, and there was a whole line, over 1,089 tracks were found just in that one trackway, and it went all the way around Bossburg.
Yeah.
So that's a famous case right there.
And that's
in the winter time.
Exactly, but I guess Whammy was asking, have we ever seen with our own eyes? But that's a very good example of what is possible to find in the wintertime, and I mean that's the only one I've ever heard of per se that I've heard that you could say it had more than 1,000 tracks. That's a long trackway, over 1,000.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that is a lot. That is a lot. Anyone who's coming in here towards this part of the show, just so everyone knows, our guest tonight was supposed to be Lori Ledger, who is a book author, and we've been trying to get a hold of her to no avail. So we're just doing sort of a round-table discussion, so anyone who wants to call in and discuss anything, you're welcome to do so. The phone number is 347-237-5070. I'll repeat that. It's 347-237-5070. Feel free to call in if you would like. And we can talk just about anything if you would like. We're doing a pretty good job of it right now.
Yeah. Well, here's a comment in the chat speaking about tracks and such from Dan R. Kind of funny comment here. He's talking about obviously not in the winter, but he says the soil gets so baked and hard here you couldn't track a D9 caterpillar here.
Yeah, some of that soil gets like that when it gets wet, and then it gets cooked by the sun. Man, it is hard. So I know what he's talking about. We have that really bad red shale and that clay here in Virginia, and I'm telling you what, in the summertime, it gets so bad. With the type of work I do, trying to locate oil tanks and stuff, I have a special probe. That probe is designed to, with very little effort, go right down into the ground. Well, let me tell you what, in the summertime, when we haven't had any rain and it's been hot, 90, 100 degrees, you couldn't put that probe in the ground with a sledgehammer. I mean, I know exactly what he's talking about. I mean, some of this ground, depending on the soil, can get really hard.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that's exactly what he's talking about. It's probably that hard packed clay and well, I mean, those that's the plains out there. You know, the Midwest, they just get baked by the sun.
Yeah.
It does. Well, I'm going to take off.
All right, Henry.
I'm going to take off. Yeah, and wanted to wish y'all a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, and we will talk to y'all later.
All right, same
All
to
right,
you, Henry.
Take care, HBM.
Same to you, Henry.
All right, you too.
We got JC in the chat is asking Billy to discuss research, Bruce.
Don't even go there. Don't even go there, Mike.
Well, he's
just ignore
regarding. He's asking about the research that Billy, Bruce, and him did in PA regarding Bigfoot and beehives.
He wasn't going to stop until that's the reason he kept printing that comment. You know that, Bruce?
I know.
Because he knew eventually Mike would ask the question.
As well as I should, right? It's in all caps. It's in question format, right? I mean, that's what we ask of people to do in the chat. So.
And he knows the next time we see him that we're going to take him out.
Yeah. All I have to say about this topic, Mike, is that if you come upon a beehive, just walk away. Walk away. I don't recommend people mess with beehives because you never know what you're gonna end up with. So it could be dangerous.
Yeah, you speak with experience on that.
I do. Yeah.
Okay. Making sure. JC's probably pretty experienced too. He just doesn't want everybody else to know that.
JC, he doesn't. He wouldn't know when the thing about JC is he likes getting stung. That's his thing. Right. He loves it.
Yeah. Well, I guess he's the best at it.
There's a comment in the chat here. I'm just scanning through looking for any possible questions. A comment in the chat from Whammy9, because I mentioned, finding the partial tracks in the Pine Barrens in New Jersey between Morton and Bass River State Forest. And these are between two areas of past history of sightings. He's mentioning, he says, the Pine Barrens look like a creepy place. And if you remember, Billy, when we were out there in the fall of '06, right in the area where you and Tom had your unusual encounter, there was that really, really, for some reason, that really extra dense and dark patch of woods there.
Yeah.
It was like just past the abandoned bog. And
yep.
And that definitely had like literally that almost looked like something out of a storybook, a fairy tale, like the you know what I'm saying, like the Enchanted Forest, it was really dark and as Whammy says, creepy looking. It was kind of overgrown and thick and dense in there, and the areas around it weren't quite as bad, but that one area there, it was definitely an area that if you were going through there, you'd be looking around an awful lot behind you, on the side of you, especially at night.
So let me ask Mike and Billy. Let me ask you something. You guys have been out a fair amount. Tell me what you think are the creepiest woods you've ever been squatching
in. Let me think here. That's
a
good question,
and
actually.
Why?
I would say that the creepiest woods I've ever been in, and this can go for anywhere. I'm not just saying necessarily just here in Virginia or New Jersey or whatever. I'm just saying as far as the woods are concerned, is when you get into those dense pine areas where you have dense pine. It's almost like it can be daylight outside, and it looks like it's 9 o'clock at night in the woods.
Yeah.
And everything's so quiet because you got the the pine needles on the ground. So even when you're walking, you're not hardly making any noise. It's just quiet, quiet and dark. So in my opinion, that's, those are probably the creepiest, woods to be in.
Yeah.
What about you, Mike?
Well, I mean, what Billy says is definitely true, and there, I have been through a couple of small patches of forest like that where it's, I mean, literally, you're hiking along and it's a normal, hike, and even if it's overcast, you can still see fairly decently, even with the canopy or whatever. And then, like Billy said, you come to an area where, I mean, it virtually looks like it's nighttime, and meanwhile it's the daytime. That is kind of weird, especially if it's a pretty deep patch of forest. If you can see across to the other side if it's only a couple hundred yards or so, and you can see it's lighter, kind of, so to speak, the light at the end of the tunnel on the other side. That's one thing. But if it's a really deep patch and all you see is like, it's almost like black in front of you, like almost nighttime and it's day, yeah, that's pretty weird. But I would say for me, the creepiest patch of woods I was ever in, I would say was, and not necessarily per se because of the patch of woods, but because of what was happening at the time. The creepiest for me would be when we were in the Adirondacks and in October of '07, and we had the mystery growler incident. That was quite an eye opener. Something obviously extremely large, the very, very impressively deep, resonant, growl, basically.
Right.
So much so that it almost, we thought it was actually distant rumbles of thunder at first because it was raining at the time and there was a storm in the area, and we thought it was distant rumbles of thunder. But that's on par with how deep and like foreboding, this guttural sound that this growl was. And I think for me, when you don't know exactly what's out there and you can't see anything, it's pretty much pitch dark, and you're hearing this growl and you don't know exactly where it is or even what it is. That's kind of a little creepy there. I mean, not that we ran away and and hid. We stood right there, and in fact, we moved towards the sound actually to try to get a closer to the sound and maybe try to get a glimpse of what it was. But it was just it was no use. It was whatever it was not coming close enough that we could try to get a look. Because at one point we did click on the flashlight beams. We had the 2 and 3 million candela power, really big spotlights, and we couldn't see anything. But for me, that would be kind of the creepiest incident, I guess. That in those few minutes when that was going on, those woods seemed a little creepy.
Yeah, they can, especially if you hear something you can't identify and you can't see it.
Yeah, and not only could we not identify it at the time, we still haven't ever identified it, really. I mean,
yeah.
I've listened to countless audio recordings of different animal sounds, and so did Chris and some of the other guys, and we still have never heard the exact sound that we heard. We never heard a recording and said, "Oh, that's it, that's the sound." And
right.
we've listened to not only animals that we know are native to not only that area, but even just native to the United States. But we even listened to animals that aren't even in this country. And
oh yeah. Yeah,
and we didn't get a definite. The closest match was an African lion growl.
Right.
But that was.
Well, I don't think there's no African lions running around out in the Adirondacks.
I would hope not. Anyway, let's put it that way. We got it bad enough with the cougars, with the mountain lions that are out there that officially don't exist according to the New York State DEC. Thank you very much. But
right.
at least those are smaller and not maybe quite as likely to look at a human as prey as compared to a full-sized African lion would.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Wow. Well, I'll tell you what, guys. I'm going to quickly take a quick commercial break, and then I'll be right back. Can you hold on, Bruce?
No problem.
All right, you can hold on. I'm sure, Mike.
Yep.
All right. We will be right back after this quick commercial. We hope you're enjoying the show. If you get a chance, visit the Sasquatch Watch of Virginia website. It can be found at www.sasquatchwatch.net. Sasquatch Watch of Virginia is a Bigfoot and Wildlife Scientific Field Research Association. We conduct field investigations and field research within areas of reported encounters. Our friendly research methods do not strive to harm or kill any wildlife. We seek to be cooperative and not hurtful to any person or groups or to any public or private organizations. Feel free to visit our website. Have you had a sighting of a creature? Then feel free to call our hotline to submit your encounter. Our hotline can be reached at 703-445-4287. And remember, we specialize in sightings here in the state of Virginia. Or you can report your encounter at our website under the tab Report Your Encounter. We will make certain that someone gets in touch with you. And please enjoy your visit to our website. Again, it is www.sasquatchwatch.net.
Paranormal Talk Radio, bi-monthly, Wednesday nights, 8 to 9 p.m. Central. Paranormal Talk Radio divas Melissa Hovey and Monica Rollins, never afraid to tell it like it is. Too hot for prime time. 60 minutes of take no shit, grab you by the balls. Paranormal Talk Radio. 8 to 9 p.m. Central, every other Wednesday night on Blog Talk Radio. Paranormal Talk Radio with an attitude.
June 19th and 20th, 2010 will mark the first annual Oregon Sasquatch Symposium in Eugene, Oregon. Speakers such as Autumn Williams, Scott Nelson, Ron Moorhead, Dr. Jeff Meldrum, David Rodriguez, Kathy Moskowitz-String, Solly Shepard-Walford, Cliff Garakman, Jaime Avalos, and Tom Powell will be only some of those in attendance. The OSS was designed for Oregon researchers and witnesses to come together and discuss the implications of Sasquatch. Tickets for the symposium are on sale now. For more information about the OSS, go to the website at www.oregonsasquatchsymposium.webs.com.
You're listening to Sasquatch Watch Radio on the Blog Talk Radio Network. Okay, welcome back, everyone. Just so that everyone knows, we apologize. We wasn't able to get our guest on the show tonight, Lori Ledger. We tried to call her, I guess, for the first 30 minutes of this show, and kept getting a busy signal. I even tried to reach her over the weekend and couldn't reach her. So I hope she's okay, and if she's listening to the show or whatever, or listens to the archive, Lori, I hope everything's all right. And certainly send me an email or a message and let me know that that everything's okay. But I think we're having a good time just sitting here talking. What do y'all think?
Hey, Billy, I think that if Lori is as smart as I think she is, she probably just took her phone off the hook.
Always got to be a wise one, don't you?
Hey, Billy.
Yeah.
I got a question for you.
Go ahead.
Since John Cartwright's the world's best Bigfoot hunter,
yeah,
would that make Bruce the world's best beehive hunter?
Probably. Probably so.
Indy is still on the line.
Yeah, I'm here. He's going to hang around and give you some grief, Bruce, the way you're giving Billy grief, you know? You get on Billy, he gets on you. You know, it's just the way it works, you know?
Well, Mike, I thought I saw a bunch of questions come in there.
Yeah, we do. We have some questions. The first one that I have here is actually from Andy Drew for me. He's asking a question from Mike. Are there any marshes in the Pine Barrens? Well, I would just say this. I don't know if I describe them as like, you know, your typical marshes that you would think of, you know, down south and stuff. But there certainly are some wetland areas there. And as Billy knows from being there with us in 06, in October, there's a number of abandoned cranberry bogs. There's bogs all through the Pine Barrens.
Yeah.
And basically, you know, there's, you know, these large areas where you have these abandoned bogs. So, you know, would it be considered like a prototypical marsh, like in the real sense of the word, you know, with cattails and, you know, growing up out of the, you know, 8 feet out of the water, and like you think of a real like kind of southern marsh? Probably not, but certainly wetland areas for sure. A number of lakes and ponds in the Pine Barrens as well. A number of rivers. You know, Billy, you remember that one river that was coming right past our campground there?
Yeah.
So you know, there's certainly certainly water sources there, and like I said, marshes per se, I would say no, but definitely bogs and some wet areas. You know, just some areas. There are plenty of areas where just like a couple of inches of standing water and amongst some high grass. You know, just enough to get your feet wet. You know, when you're walking through.
Lots of sand, a lot of sand, a lot of pine needles, a lot of bogs.
Yep. So there you go, Andy. Then let's see. Let me scroll down here. I know there was a couple more.
Well, if you got a cranberry bog, it seems to me that all you need would be some Grey Goose, and then you got some cranberry and vodka.
Yeah, if you thought enough to carry some with you, that. I can't speak for everybody, but I never bring any kind of you know, liquid sedative, shall we say?
Yeah.
On
that's
expeditions.
Right.
I stay away from alcohol on expeditions because you
know that doesn't do good for you being an eyewitness or something.
No, exactly. Yeah, people, you know, if something incredible should happen, I mean, one could like literally run right through your camp and knock a tent down, and they'd be saying, oh, you know, you guys have seen pink elephants. You know, you guys were 3 sheets to the wind, and one of you guys stumbled and knocked into the tent, and the other guys didn't see him because he fell and rolled over. You know, they'd be you know, coming up with all sorts of other possibilities that what it could be. So
that's right.
Definitely not a good idea. Does not lend well to the credibility.
No.
Whammy 9's got a comment. I mentioned the mystery growler incident. He's asking. He says, "Mystery growler, anyone have beans that night?" Not to my knowledge, Whammy. I don't recall. Matter of fact, I'm probably of the people that were there. I'm probably the guy that's most cautious of beans. and I definitely did not have any on that particular expedition. I do like a good can of beans around a campfire, but I did not have any on that expedition. I don't think anybody else did either. So you can rule that right out. Okay. Now we have a question here from Andy Drew, and he's just asking everybody here for the panel. He says, if Donald Trump gave you a big budget, what new piece of equipment would you have custom made that's not available on the market?
Wow. That's a good question, isn't it? Who knows the answer to that one right off the top of their head?
Well, I always thought, well, if I were rich and money was no object, that I would get some serious thermographic sensors.
So why don't you have that yet?
Well, because money is an object. That's why.
We were all told you were independently wealthy.
Don't listen to rumors, Billy.
You're talking something along the lines of like a FLIR kind of
yeah.
a thing?
So, like Bill Dranginis has this handheld FLIR, and it's got, I don't know, probably about maybe a 6-inch screen or something like that. But that thing is about $25,000, and it's different than the Twilight scopes and the night vision goggles out there because it actually allows you to see varying levels of heat. So you'll be able to see an image. Like if you've ever seen that movie Predator.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So one of the modes of the Predator's got is he can see a thermographic image, so he can see a form, and he can see within that form different areas where the heat is different temperatures. So
it's different colors, yeah.
It registers
to
as
show
a different color.
The hottest areas, yeah.
So something like that. But like I said, those are pretty expensive. Those are pretty pricey.
Well, since you went there, Bruce, to go along with that, and since we're talking about something that hasn't been invented yet, I think I would hire Kite Squatch to come up with a device that makes no sound and is completely silent, that could carry some type of a thermal imager and have a long range, say several miles remote possibilities to fly around the top of the woods and just look for images, and then be able to pinpoint it and give us an exact GPS coordinate of the whereabouts. That would be perfect.
That would be perfect.
Yep, that would be great.
Then we could mount maybe a Hellfire missile on it, and then
or a big net. Oh, that's somebody else's idea. I'm sorry.
A Bigfoot taser, maybe.
Oh God.
Why not just beam him up? Like the Enterprise.
Yeah.
Give her us, not Captain.
Got another few questions here. We have a question from Polypodium for Billy.
Okay.
Question for Billy. Is there any research in particular that seems promising that you are following by other researchers or groups?
By other researchers or groups, my answer to that would be no. Within my own group, yes. I have a lady down in southwestern Virginia who lives on a property by herself. She's a single widow. She has made claims that she has had allegedly several visits by some creatures. I have no reason to disbelieve what she's telling me, and I will be making a trip down there soon to not necessarily put out a lot of research equipment, because I don't think that's the way to handle it. And I don't think that, personally, I don't think I should hang around there at any length of time, being that she's an elderly lady, she's there by herself, and that's what these things may be used to. Males may not visit very often, and if they do, they probably don't stay around long, and these creatures may be aware of that. So I need to find a way, and I'm working on an idea to try to put up surveillance, something that hopefully won't be noticeable, and not hang around too much, and hopefully we can catch something that way. But I feel pretty good about it.
Well, Billy, it's kind of interesting that you mentioned this because I had a similar experience where I was contacted by this gentleman, and he was telling me the story about his mother, who at the time was, I think, 93 or 94, and they'd been having weird things happen up at the house, and she lived alone in the house, and a nurse would come, but the nurse wouldn't stay overnight just because that was just, she was only hired to be there during the day, and then this gentleman who'd come over to his mom's house after work, and he'd just do things around the house. He'd till the garden, or he'd just do handiwork there and just keep his mother company. But he told me the story about how something kept getting at the bird feeder. And so he put up the bird feeder, and he rigged it up so that it was 11 feet off of the ground. And the only way you could get to it was this 1,000-pound test line that you had to basically untie and then lower the bird feeder down. And then you had to reach out and kind of swing it so you could hit it so it would swing and you could grab it.
Mm-hmm.
So he had just gotten home about, I think it's like a 20-minute or a half-hour drive from his mom's place to his place. He had just gotten home, and his mother called him and said, there's somebody on the porch. And of course, he, at the time, he wasn't thinking Bigfoot. He just thought his mother was loopy, and she was. Apparently, she had lost her mind, and there are times when she was lucid, but those are not frequent. So I asked him, so what did she say? And he said that she claimed that there was a black man on the porch, and he didn't, like you said, he didn't think about that was a Bigfoot or anything at the time. He just thought, well, all right, well, I'll come back and check on it tomorrow. Well, so the next day after work, he shows up at his mother's house, finds the whole bird feeder apparatus on the ground. And the weird thing is, the bird feeder had been pulled down. Not only the bird feeder, but the yard arm that it was attached to, made of solid tubular steel, and it was bolted to a 2x6 railing. And because it was bolted to the railing, the whole railing had been pulled off of the deck. So, I actually examined the bird feeder itself. I could not find any evidence of claw marks. I could not find any evidence of teeth marks. I could not find any evidence where, say a bear was able to climb up on the deck and push the apparatus over. There were no claw marks on the deck floor or the railing, and the bird feeder was intact. And the bird feeder basically was a cylinder, and the top screwed off. And this gentleman told me that he had found the bird feeder laying on the ground at the edge of the lawn, and the top was just screwed off, and all the bird seed had gone missing. And so I said, well, that could have been a bear. And he said, no, actually, he's had an instance where a bear has gotten at the bird feeder. And he said the bear destroyed the bird feeder, just basically crushed it until the cap fell off, and then, ate the contents. So it was kind of interesting that, and he was, telling me all sorts of other stories too, which I won't relate at this point, but very similar to the situation that you're talking about, where this woman is living alone. Now, his mother was widowed for many, many years, I think 20 years or something like that. So
wow.
It's just kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's those type of encounters always interest me, because it seems like the elderly ladies, they're up in age or single, they live alone, they seem to be, I don't know, I could see where any creature, any animal would see someone like that as, someone that's not dangerous, and they would feel comfortable being around. So it's probably a good scenario.
I would agree. I think that any animal can sense danger, and I think that, in a situation where, you have an elderly person living alone, there's probably, not a lot of danger for any animals who are, shy. So,
Right.
And if you think, and if you subscribe to the theory that they are, habituate, well, it would make sense that they would know that, all right, well, I don't really see this person, out at night, or, the only time I see movement is during the daytime, during these hours, and that they would sort of learn that.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Hey, guys, I
All
have
right.
a couple questions for you.
All right.
Just talking about the bird feeders and stuff here just gave me kind of an idea. You get reports from people that say that they're coming around the yards and stuff like this all the time. See if they do have a bird feeder out there. And I've seen these advertised in online spy store magazines and stuff like that. You can get these little cordless cameras for fairly cheap, and hook up one of them cordless little bitty spy cams to the bird feeder, and have it where it transmit into a house to a VCR, and then see what it picks up. That way, there's nothing out of place. There's no big game cam strapped to the side of a tree or
Right.
nothing like that. But it's just a little bitty, about the size of a quarter, and you set it on the side of the bird feeder or on the bottom of the bird feeder or whatever.
Right.
And see what comes up with that.
Yeah. Good idea.
And the second, my other, well, it was really only one question, but the other thing is, do you guys, in your honest opinions, do you think it is better to have all these fancy gadgets or just to go out and do it old school?
Well, that's a good question, Indy. All the fancy gadgets certainly haven't done anything for us yet. The fanciest gadget so far that's probably produced the best evidence was the old camera that was used by Roger Patterson to film that film. Other than that, we really don't have much.
But Billy, back in 1967 when he filmed that camera was pretty much would be considered a newfangled gadget, if you will.
Yeah.
That was pretty much a state-of-the-art camera back then. That was a very expensive camera. That's why he rented it. It was very good quality.
Right.
So that would be.
Uh-oh. Here. We just got our 90-second warning.
Yeah. There was one more question in the chat. I don't know if you want to try to squeeze it in.
We'll get to it. We'll get to it in the archive. But before we go off the air live, I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows next week we are going to have a gentleman by the name of Garrett Redbird. Garrett Redbird is a Cheyenne sun dancer. He is Native American. I've been wanting to get a Native American on the show for quite some time, and this fellow has agreed to come on. He's got some interesting information to talk about. It will be an interesting show. He has recently discovered some 18-inch prints on the reservation and says that these folks there, seeing Bigfoot to them is like us seeing a skunk or a raccoon. So it's going to be interesting hearing what this guy's got to say. So everybody tune in next Monday night at 9 p.m. Eastern, and we'll have Garrett Redbird on the air next week. Thanks, everybody, for listening, and we will continue in archives to try to answer some of the questions that have been asked. We don't want to leave nobody out, though. Good night, everyone, as you go off live, and we'll see y'all next week. Okay, Mike.
Yeah, it was just one more question that I saw, although I scrolled back up to get it, so somebody could have typed one in the last 2 minutes. But the question that was in here was from Dan R., and he's asking, did any of you get the feeling that if you make one more step, you won't live to take another while in the woods at night?
Meaning, repeat that. Maybe I didn't completely understand it.
He said, did any of you get the feeling that if you make one more step, you won't live to take another while in the woods at night? In other words, just such a foreboding sense of dread that you just couldn't, take another step, keep going the direction you're headed.
The only time that happened to me was in that incident that I had in Richmond, Virginia, but I wouldn't call it that I don't feel like, that's always been very hard for me to explain because I've never felt anything like that since then or before then. But it's more of I don't want to call it a fear because I don't think it's what it was. It's more of it's where you lose your perception or you lose your what do I want to call it? That's where the disorientation to where I just didn't want to go on and I didn't know where I was at. And for whatever reason, the easiest way for me to gather my thoughts was to just lay down and just calm myself down and then basically talk my way through. But I don't think that would be, I didn't feel that, I did have a surrounded feeling, like I was surrounded. But I don't think that really, I wouldn't define that as a fear, like an abiding fear type thing.
All right. I can't say as I've ever had that feeling. As I said, the kind of creepiest experience that I've ever had was that growler incident, and again, I can't really say for sure what it was, except that it was whatever it was, was large and had an extremely deep guttural, tone to it, and I would imagine a large animal and something with a large chest cavity and vocal tract, I would think, would have to be responsible for that. But even then, I never got the sense that, stop, don't take another step, or
right.
you may be coming out of here, in a body bag type of feeling. I never got that feeling. In fact, we pressed up this trail about 15 feet or so to try to get a better listen to what this noise was and possibly, hopefully, maybe see something. But when we got up about 15 feet up the trail, it was three of us, and the two guys in front of me, because I just happened to be the third guy, in trail. The first two guys, I don't know if you can call it infrasound or whatever, but they got that absolute feeling of dread, and they said that they just had to get out of there. They reported that. I never got that feeling. Now I don't know if that means somehow I was immune to whatever they were feeling. It affected them and not me, or whether whatever it was didn't hit me. Like if it was a creature, maybe. I'm just saying if it was, and if it was some kind of directed infrasound attack, maybe because I was the third guy in the back, maybe the two guys in the front took the brunt of it, and not enough infrasound hit me to affect me. I don't know what the answer is, but if those guys would have stayed with me, I would have kept going up that trail because I really wanted to get to the bottom of what was making that noise. I had my bear spray in hand just in case it turned out to be a bear or whatever, or even a mountain lion, what have you. I was ready. The bear spray was in hand. I had the little plastic safety catch was off, and I was, I had my flashlight in hand, so mag light. So I I would have kept going if they would have stayed behind me. I would have even taken the lead if they would have fell in behind me and kept going. But I figured, you know what? I don't know that it's such a great idea to go out there by myself. If these two guys are definitely going back to the clearing, which they were, clearly going back to the clearing, I said, probably not the best idea to be on this pitch dark trail by myself with who knows what out there. It just probably wasn't the best idea. So I followed them back out. But I never got that feeling of dread. Those two guys did. The other two guys with me, they wanted no part of it, whatever this was. But I didn't get that. We had, let's see, we had another question or two. Accidentally hit my mouse and I moved it now. Where was it here? Give me a second here. Okay. Whammy 9 was asking, he says, where is the reservation? I guess he's talking about where the guest is coming from. I guess he wants to know what general area it's in.
I believe it's Oklahoma.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he told me Oklahoma. Let me look here. I probably have it here somewhere, actually. If I look here. You can look for another question while I look that up.
Okay. All right. Let me scroll down a little more and just see if there's any more. I see comments, but no questions. Guys are saying, great show anyway, even though we didn't have a guest. So we appreciate that. Thanks, guys. It's a couple of people saying that. But
the show was fine until I come on and went to hell.
Yeah. As long as you got a couple of guys that can chew the fat, you're okay, And
Hey,
that's right.
Those people saying great show, did they actually listen to the show?
All right.
Well, they didn't say specifically this show, so who knows? I don't know. They just said great show. Maybe they're talking about another show they're listening to in the background. I don't know.
All right. We hear you, Bruce. Goodness.
Yeah.
No Oreos for you this year, buddy.
Yeah.
Funny, Indy.
That's right.
And we won't let you know the combination to the lock on the trailer.
Hey, if I got a question for Billy. If JC, because they just mentioned Oreos, if JC and Bruce are on the same expedition, who wins in the steel cage match for the Oreos? Because
Bruce.
That's going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight, I think.
Yeah.
But
that's
see,
Bruce.
We anticipate that, so we buy 2 packages of Oreos. Each have our own package of Oreos.
Yeah, and the trail camera catches him stealing both packs every time.
That is nonsense, Bruce. Stop spreading rumors.
Well, see, here's the thing now. This year at Ohio Conference, I'm going to have to buy a chocolate pie and a bag of Oreos now.
Well, you better hide one a little bit better than what you did.
Well, I'm thinking they'd be safe in the cabin in the refrigerator, man.
Indy, I want you to take that back right now because you know you bought that pie for me.
Hey, Indy, some of those refrigerators have that hex key lock on it, where you can lock it.
That's right.
Yeah.
I'll have to make sure that the cabin we get this year has got one of them.
Yeah. Oh man, we're just tearing you up, ain't we, Bruce?
Yeah, great. I'm glad I called in.
We love you, Bruce.
Yeah,
the farther
thanks,
away,
Indy.
the better.
I'm touched.
We love you. The farther away, the better.
Oh, so that was all the questions you found, Mike?
Yeah, that was the last one. It was the question from Whammy. Like I said, some people are just making comments, and some of the comments they're typing in all caps, but they're not really questions. Like Andy Drew says, great show, Billy and Mike, that's all caps. Obviously, that's not a question, but that's nice, Andy. We appreciate that. Thank you.
That's right, Andy. We know you appreciate the show, other than Bruce.
Yeah.
I appreciate the show.
And Andy says, thanks for asking all my questions too. No problem, Andy. That's what we're here for. We try to get everybody.
Andy likes all the shows, man. I mean, he even used to tune into mine. When I had my show on, he was like, "Good show, Andy." Yeah. How bad mine sucked? He kept saying, "Yes, it's good show."
What you're trying to say? What you're trying to say, Andy, is that Andy's stamp of approval is not worth much. Is that what you're trying to say?
I wouldn't say that now.
Well, that seemed to be what you're implying there. I don't know. I don't know if I would, Andy. You might want to call in and refute that.
Yeah, I tried to catch your show, Indy, but it was always on at a time when they had a rerun of Gilligan's Island. So
God.
Yeah, I know how big of a ginger freak you were.
Hey, she was hot.
All right. We won't get into that discussion.
Wait a minute. I'm sorry. I said the wrong one. Oh, I got her confused with Mrs. Howell. That's who.
Hey, Billy, you'll have to keep that in the back of your mind for the next open show when we're looking for things to discuss. We have Bruce call in and maybe Indy, and we'll have the Ginger versus Marianne discussion.
Oh yeah.
I know. Marianne was cute.
See?
You could probably do a whole show just on that.
Probably so.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
And we could probably get Lori to call in too.
Great.
You know what's really bad? I'm sitting here saying all this stuff, and Robin's sitting there giving me all these kind of weird looks, man.
Who's Robin?
You know Robin, my wife?
Oh, yeah, okay.
Robin, the one that hit him with the fly swatter.
Yeah.
Same one's going to hit you with the fly swatter if you steal another chocolate pie.
I didn't steal that chocolate. You guys are really pushing your luck.
Oh, goodness.
Hey, Billy.
Hey, you won't have to worry. Hey, y'all won't have to worry about me being there. I'm not invited to the Ohio conference.
It's very simple if you want to discourage Bruce from raiding everybody's food supplies when you're on the expedition. If you want to discourage that behavior, I mean, you could try the newspaper approach. Smack them on the nose with a newspaper. But if that doesn't work, here's a fun thing. Maybe you can get your local bank to give you a few of those exploding dye packs. Put those in the bag of Oreos, and then if Bruce can't control himself, he'll have to go through the whole rest of the expedition, either bright red or purple or whatever color the dye happens to be. That'd be a pretty big discouragement to raiding the snacks.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Thanks. That's very helpful.
He'll be walking around. He'll be walking around with red dye.
Yeah.
He'll be like,
red
I didn't do it.
Or whatever.
I didn't do it.
Yeah. Wasn't me. Over there. Robin trying to get.
Thought I was giving him a hard time.
I'm not liking how this show is ending up.
Well, it sounds like a good place to end the show. Yeah, we got to end it sometime because they're going to cut us off here in a minute anyway.
Wait, we're still on the air?
No, they'll cut off the archive.
Oh.
Well, we're in archive as of right now, though. Yeah, we're still recording at the moment. But yeah, I guess Billy. They cut the show times down now. They don't let you keep going. They'll cut it off.
So anyway, Andy, thanks for calling in. Bruce, maybe, I don't know.
Hey, you know what? They should have cut your show off at like 10 after.
They should have cut it off the moment I answered the phone. No, I appreciate you. I don't care.
Well, that means a lot, Billy.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks, Billy.
I really mean it.
And Bruce, I don't care what people say about you. We like when you call into the show.
That's right.
If nothing else, you're the official show whipping boy. So,
Yeah, Bruce, I do not mind going through all the hundreds of hate mail, that I get every time you call into the show. So don't worry about it.
Well, I just want to congratulate Mike on him being the king of the backhanded compliment because.
Hey. There's a subtle art to that not everybody can fully grasp. The dry wit involved is
Yeah.
It takes a little bit of time to work that out.
It's pretty dry, Mike. There's going to be a drought for a long time there, so keep trying.
All right, I think we've exhausted this show. So, anyway, thanks for calling in, Andy. Thanks for calling in, Bruce. Mike, thanks as always.
Yeah, it's a fun show as always, guys.
Yep.
All right.
And we'll see everybody.
All right.
Okay.
All right, guys. Have a good night.
See everybody
All
next
right,
week.
Guys.
Night.
A legend passed down through the generations. A myth to some, reality to others. Thousands claim to have encountered this creature from all around the world. Footprints discovered, unidentifiable hairs collected, unusual sounds recorded. Something is out there. Sasquatch Watch Radio. Monday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, on the Blog Talk Radio Network, interviewing the men and women researching this phenomenon, the latest news and information, research techniques, and cutting-edge technology. True terrifying encounters as told by those who have experienced them. Monday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, on the Blog Talk Radio Network. Your host, Billy Willard of Sasquatch Watch of Virginia, brings you the most riveting discussions on the internet today. blogtalkradio.com/Sasquatch Watch Radio. Monday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, Sasquatch Watch Radio. The truth is out there. Welcome to Sasquatch Watch Radio.
It's the Planet Fitness You Can Still Join a Gym in 2023 sale. Now through December 29th, join for just $1 down, $10 a month, and you can still do that thing you said you'd do 11.5 months ago. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. It's not too late. This can still be your year. So join today for just $1 down, $10 a month, cancel anytime, and pay nothing until January 17th. Hurry! Deal ends Friday, December 29th. See club for details.
It is Ryan here, and I have a question for you. What do you do when you win? Like, are you a fist pumper, a woohooer, a hand clapper, a high fiver? I kind of like the high five, but if you want to hone in on those winning moves, check out Chumba Casino. At ChumbaCasino.com, choose from hundreds of social casino-style games for your chance to redeem serious cash prizes. There are new game releases weekly, plus free daily bonuses, so don't wait. Start having the most fun ever at ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.